which is actually an adaptation of my larger play, Starfire, the Prostitute play. But this one's called Gloria. So. It's still my decision, Gloria said as she pushed back the shower curtain and dropped her robe. Louis let his eyes graze her body. Though he thought he knew every inch of her, for a moment he was sure he had spotted a wolf in the constellation of freckles that spotted her back. It might have been the lighting, or the growl she seemed to keep at bay in her throat, but the wolf disappeared into her shoulder blades as she twisted to look at him. Louis tried to reset his mind to the discussion at hand. He drew his eyebrows together and twisted his face in disgust. And it's my decision not to love you if you whore yourself around like that. It's an easy income, she said, turning her back again as she reached into the shower to turn on the water. It wouldn't even be a regular thing. Was she toying with him? She didn't want his permission, that he knew. She didn't care for anyone's permission. No, he insisted, I'm not going to take seconds from a bunch of sleazy men. He could feel her navigating his presence. She was poking for weak spots. Louis smirked. He knew how she was. Did she really think he was just going to roll over for her? What if they were women? She turned to fully face him, boring her fire-flecked eyes into his resolve. Steam glided onto the bathroom floor, and the pitter-patter of the water backed the silence between them. Gloria's mocha skin glistened with the droplets escaping from the running shower, while some of her loose curls stuck to her collarbone in a dark clump. She was taller than him. Almost, definitely taller any time she wore heels. She stood proudly, ample breast displayed with her fingers dangling at her side. Louis stopped smirking. I'm just asking, so you don't like me doing it with men, but say a woman wanted it. Was she into girls too? He felt his stomach drop. Maybe, he submitted. I don't know, I still don't like it. Okay. The chasm in Louis's gut shifted. Frustration stirred in its place, eating away at his insecurities. What's your damage? Why can't you just get another job? I'm trying, she whined, stepping towards him. I've been applying places. I went to pick up an application for that massage parlor and the hair salon next to it. Louis stepped back, but only found himself pressed against the door of the bathroom. She sauntered closer, continuing. That's where this girl told me about her other job. Louis refused to look at her body. She wouldn't win him over this way. He focused on her cheekbones, her strong jaw, her soft, supple lips. All the while he could feel her riddling his composure. It seems like she's doing really well for herself. They were centimeters apart. Her naked body charged the humid air as she placed her hands gently on his ribcage. Louis could feel his lungs trying to expand against her palm. She pressed harder, lacing her thin fingers through his lower intercostals, or as much as she could grip through the flesh and cotton shirt, leaning in so that her tits brushed his chest. He felt their kneecaps knock mildly against one another, and he had to consciously resist letting his hands rest against the curve of her body. She sighed melodramatically. But I suppose I haven't put in an application for the strip club on 5th. No, he barked, pushing her away. Fucking get bent. His attention flickered to her safety as she almost slipped on the moist floor. Her safeguarded aggression was gone. She would not play with him any longer. Gloria sneered. Christ, it's not like it's fucking prostitution. It's worse. He had nowhere to turn. He didn't want to be in this crappy bathroom anymore or looking at her exposed body. You'd be worth less than a prostitute. Gloria glared, stepping into the shower. She tried to slam the shower curtain shut, but it just jangled lightly against the constant thrum of running water. She was trying to act pissy, but she wasted the water, and Louis was sure that it was colder than ideal at this point. He pressed on. $1 for a dance versus a couple $100 an hour, and any man could wander in, drunk off their ass, to spend a wad on you for the night. He turned the door and yanked on the knob. That's a no. Louis slammed the door closed, walking into the living room of their apartment. Gloria was so infuriating. She had to be into that whole equity, sexual liberation bullshit. Like, it's not like he was against women or equity or sex. It was 1987. Come on. Louis didn't want to be an overbearing type, but why her body? What was so appealing about prostitution in the first place? Christ, there was an epidemic on the rise, and she wanted to enter the line of sex work? It was madness. Louis stopped pacing. She was bullheaded, but this isn't something that she would do. She couldn't do that to him. He ran his fingers through his hair and walked into the kitchen. He needed to shower too, but they'd wasted all that time arguing, so he'd have to wait a while. He tried to make out his reflection from the microwave door, but it wasn't the most reflective surface. Oh well, who was going to see his greasy hair anyway? Louis opened the refrigerator door to look for food. "You won't find anything in there," Gloria said from behind him. As she said this, Louis nodded at the wine bottle, empty milk container, bowl of spoiled strawberries, and half a jar of marinara sauce, but they had no noodles to cook it with in the fridge. "So it seems," he resigned. "Do you want to order takeout?" Gloria suggested. Louis couldn't determine how she was feeling. Her voice sounded too calm. He brought his head out of the refrigerator. "Sure," he conceded. "I'll get the phone book," she stated, pulling open the counter drawer. As Gloria started to flip through the yellow pages, Louis squirmed in his resolve. She was infuriating, but he couldn't stay angry with her. He was sure that she wouldn't actually do it. "Gloria," he started. "Look, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have pushed you away. You could have been hurt." "It's fine," she acknowledged as she dialed the number on their landline. "You're allowed to be upset, just as I'm allowed to be." "You're upset? Why wouldn't I be?" She looked over at him. There was the silent growl. "Because you can't." She interrupted him by holding her finger in the shush signal. "Hello, I'd like to order for delivery." He shook his head, returning to the kitchen area. Of course she wouldn't listen to what he had to say. She never was going to either. He opened their basic cabinets to search for a few glasses. They had no food in the house, so he assumed they would have some dishes to work with. Nothing at head height. There were some shelves above his head, though. Maybe there was something up there? Louis leaned on the counter to reach as far as his arm would allow. There better be something. Nothing could ruin his night more than having to wash dishes again. Or a miracle could occur and Gloria might one day decide to wash them herself. But Louis, I don't like to do dishes. What am I, a housewife? Is this the 50s, Louis? Louis clutched at his cold glasses, pushing at the two together between his fingers as he carefully lowered himself to the ground. At least they could drink. Gloria finished on the landline. "It'll be about 40 minutes. "Got it," Louis said, pouring wine into the glass mug he had found. Gloria was staring at him. He poured one for her too, though Louis considered whether her glass was actually a flower vase before handing it over. "Thank you." She inspected the vase as well, before shrugging off the notion that perhaps flowers would better fare than alcohol in it, and she sipped at the Zinfandel. They drank in silence. Gloria commented, "We should probably get groceries." Louis looked at her. With her hair in a bun, while wearing one of his older, larger sweaters as a dress, she seemed tamer. "Probably," he agreed, refilling his mug. "Were you saying something before?" "Probably," he said again, "but it's not like it matters." Her lower lip jutted forward and her eyebrows scrunched together. "What are you talking about?" "Nothing," Louis assured. "Like, if it's nothing, then don't complain about it later or be all pissy because you didn't get to say your feelings. I'm just trying to talk with you and have, like, a real connection here. But if you're just beating around the bush, you can just step off." She finished her vase of wine with a swig and huffed herself over to the couch, where she wrapped herself in a blanket and laid down. "Wake me up when the food comes." Louis rolled his eyes. "Whatever," he said, walking over to the couch to sit down beside her. She was annoyingly cute when she slept. Louis glanced at the clock across the room. When did she finish the call? Probably a good 20 minutes left until the delivery guy showed up.